This is the Sunday edition of the 217 Recovery Podcast. Tonight's episode was carefully selected by Marnie.
Could be little, could be big. But going back out is not the answer.
Sit back, relax, or do whatever it is you do, and enjoy Marnie's Sunday night replay.
Is that where the little emojis that are laughing get put up?
Oh, you got jokes now?
I'm just saying.
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
Hello, this call is for Corey Winfield. This is Attorney Paul Jansen Jr. calling. I'm appointed to represent you on a case coming up in Niles Trial Court set for December 18th at 1 o'clock. So please give me a call back. Thank you. Bye.
Not a good day getting that voicemail. It wasn't. Today is November 22nd, 2020. 217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield. Yeah, that was on my voicemail from 2018. And yeah, I think when he called, I might have actually been back in jail.
Took a minute to get that voicemail.
Actually, no. I wasn't back in jail. I might have been in the hospital. So that's where I end up when I decide to drink.
Right.
Yep. Good times. Not. It's good times now, though. Mm-hmm. But looking back at that, I'm coming up on the 2-year anniversary of that. And it's just like, looking back, I have to thank God. And I should make just a big old list of being like grateful items, like the things I'm grateful for.
Oh, yeah. That's a super awesome thing to do.
It would be huge. So, yeah. So I was listening to my voicemails. I decided to keep that one and put it in the open just because it, shows where I was at once, and I don't have to live that way, and I don't have to be that person anymore. And, I have moved on. And for people who are kind of going through that same thing, they can listen to this and go, wow, okay, 2 years seems like a long time. Mm-hmm. It's really not. Mm-hmm. And especially if you're doing things right and moving in the right direction, I like to keep things moving forward in my life. And, I've come a long way since then. I really have, just as being a human.
Yeah.
And figuring out some of the things that I was doing wrong, completely wrong in my recovery.
Right.
Or not actually even being in recovery. Just being sober. There's a big difference. Being in recovery is someone who actually goes out and seeks the things that you need to do. Mm-hmm. Meetings, helping other people. Doing those kind of things, therapy appointments, going to the dentist, just little things like that, man, add up, and you keep your day busy, full of things moving forward. And, that's being in recovery.
Yeah. You just said one that kind of struck me that I think stands out, at least that helped me, was helping other people. Because when I was active in my addiction, I think it goes across the board that you're so selfish. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty much, you don't care about anything but yourself, and anything that you do or say is just if it benefits you in some way, shape, or form. And that's kind of a sad thing. And when you're getting cleared up and you're not so foggy anymore and things start making sense to you, doing good things for other people really makes you feel awesome, and it's showing that you're getting out of yourself and that you can be a productive person in this world. And we all are, we were just in a bad spot. Yeah. And, I've talked about this before on the podcast. And for those of you who are familiar with the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's one of the pathways that, some people, it's a pretty common actual pathway that people follow, but not necessarily, doesn't work for everybody. But there's a part in the big book, which is what they kind of the guidebook, I guess you want to call their material that they kind of go by. And there's a section called the Promises. And in that, it's literally just one page. If you Googled it, the Promises of AA, and read through that, I would ask anyone out there, no matter what phase of your recovery that you're in, look that up and read it. And I guarantee you that something on that list of things. You can look at it like a list. It's a reading, but something in that has changed for you. Something in that big, long list of the things that will change for you in your life when you decide to put down your drink or drug. I guarantee you, one or all of those things have at least been altered and have gotten better for you. It's amazing. It's crazy. Yeah. I do that often. I revisit that often and just like, wow.
The promises are amazing. Mm-hmm. And as you start going to AA, or if you want to try it out, you'll hear people read them from time to time. Some meetings read them, some meetings don't. But I think it's, I don't know, 5th month, six months, I started hearing them differently. I started thinking, yeah, like that is kind of starting to change for me. And the promises are true. You know, the big book, a lot of people think, I don't want to read that big old book. I mean, you look at it sometimes, you're like, man, I don't want to read it. Mm-hmm. That's not all. The first, I mean, it was, I'm just going to throw it out there, 157, 180 pages. Mm-hmm. Something like that is the big book, and the rest are stories. So don't be discouraged by the size of the book. You know, it's like, geez, I got to read that whole thing. And then you realize, oh, no, you can read the stories if you want, but, you know, I recommend, you know, you read it, even if you're like, I don't do AA, I don't like that stuff. Mm-hmm. Why not? What else are you doing? Like, read it.
Right.
And then tell me if you like it. And that's cool if you don't, but there'll be something that you take away. Mm-hmm. And if you're looking for a certain pathway, we have a list of pathways with some links. I even added a couple more. It was like recovery yoga. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a thing. Hey, whatever, man.
Yeah.
But there's a link to those on our website, 217recovery.com. Of course, you can get that from the app as well.
Yeah.
Our resources page, but.
Yeah. And I had a really good conversation with a few guys today who are in recovery, different stages, all of them at different stages. And one of them was talking about how they just taken on a sponsor. And I think he's got like almost coming up on 60 days maybe. And he said that he had asked this guy and, you know, thought that, you know, he saw that guy had what he wanted. They kind of say that as a guideline, like pick out somebody in the program, either by what they share about and talk about with you, or just as they share with the group, that you like, you kind of can find, you know, a comfortability and you can relate to a lot of the things that they talk about. And he, you know, asked this other guy to be a sponsor, and the guy said, you know, let me think about it, which is also a common thing because, you know, you're committing to, you know, a relationship, if you want to call it that, professional relationship of sponsor, sponsee. And same thing with recovery coaching. You know, same thing is you have a job to do. You know, there's goals in mind. There's tasks that will be given. There's a huge like respect and communication piece that is necessary. And so it's common for the sponsee or the sponsor, after being asked, to kind of like maybe sit on it for a minute or ask, you know, a couple questions of the sponsee, like an interview, to see if it's going to be a good fit, you know. And so maybe less times they'll start off being as a temporary, you know, if somebody to get started and see if they click kind of thing, which is cool too. You know, you don't have to feel like this is like do or die, like you're signing, you know, a marriage certificate or something. So, but yeah, it was kind of a beautiful thing because, you know, he was super excited about it, and he's like, yeah, I gotta do this, and I'm gonna reading this part of the book, and then, you know, I gotta do some step work and so on and so forth. And I was like, and he was pumped, you know, he was excited about it. And I was, at one point I was just like, you know, just remember, man, like this isn't a race, you know, like take as much time as you want, process stuff, like, you know, this is awesome that you're doing it. And, you know, just, you know, obviously this a sponsor, you know, they kind of know what's going on. They know a little bit about a lot of it, and, you know, they have experience, strength, and hope to share with you. And that's kind of the whole idea. Same thing with recovery coaches, you know. So it's just something for if those of you out there that are kind of thinking about, like, do I need a sponsor? Do I not need one?
It can be hard. Like, if you choose, like, okay, if you're like, man, this AA thing is for me, I dig it. I need the structure. I need to be going back and looking over, where I messed up. Then, that's fine. Then get yourself a sponsor and just go for it, man. But don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work. Just get yourself back up and keep going. Mm-hmm. But if you're like, man, I really, and most of us don't like being told what to do. And the sponsors are different, like we're all human. We all have our own personalities, and some sponsors they're just different. Some sponsors are more, hey man, here's what you need to do it. I'm not going to track you down.
Right.
Where others are like, you need to call me every single morning at 7:55 or I'm not going to be a sponsor, so it's completely different.
And you could even look at it if you don't like that word that word is used a lot with the AA pathway, but you can have a sponsor and for any pathway. And if you don't like that word sponsor, they're like a mentor. Look for, that's what they are. You stick them with that label and it seems scary. Mm-hmm. But, there's nothing wrong. And be open and honest about, what you're willing to do in your part with that relationship. Like, be like, I ain't going to call you every day, dude, mm-hmm. or whatever, it come to an understanding, like what works for both of you that the sponsor's going to be okay with and that you're going to be able to keep up with. And they're going to ask you to do some stuff that you don't really feel like doing, but that's part of doing the work mm-hmm. of, actually getting to the bottom of a lot of stuff and figuring stuff out and doing your inventory and, so on and so forth. But, I advocate totally for recovery coaches.
Yeah, which are completely different.
I just was touching on that because this is that individual that I came across today was really excited about it, which I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah, if you're excited about your recovery, that's a good sign.
Yes.
And I've seen people like, oh, my sponsor said I have to do that, and they're excited and geeked to do it. Mm-hmm. And that right there is a very good sign, just the way you're thinking about things, the way you go into situations. Now, if you get yourself a sponsor like, hate that dude. He told me that I need to, do step 1, 2. I don't want to, good luck. Mm-hmm. It's probably not going to work out. But if you're excited and pumped, mm-hmm. hell yeah, great sign. That's good. It makes me excited.
Yeah.
For the guy, I don't even know who you're talking about, but I'm excited for him. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that goes well.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can keep that great attitude, and keep moving forward. And, there'll be some things I'm sure the sponsor will say to him, or he'll be like, man, I really don't like that. Well, stop and think why you don't like that. Mm-hmm. Why? Is it something in you, like something that you did that you didn't like that now you have to remember?
Yeah.
Or you have to put it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, those ones, that's a toughie.
Mm-hmm. But, keep in mind too, and I'm sure your sponsor will tell you, that was back then, and that's just, you can't change it. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to point out going forward, we want to be different than that guy.
Yeah.
These are the things that dude did. Let's do things different.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot, I think, in general, is like, you're not trying to get your old life back. Like, that's what you don't want is you don't want the old you. It's starting fresh and starting new and building up, a new you that's clean and sober and happy with yourself.
All right. Well, we're 13 minutes in it. We're already talking about recovery.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, but I wanted to set up.
You had a bunch of mindless, random stuff you wanted to talk about?
No, I had some really on point stuff I want to talk about.
Go.
All right. Well, I eventually want to talk about wedding jitters. Looks like we're finally going to have our sex talk.
Oh.
Today.
Okay.
You were doing the research. But there's something I want to talk about before I talk about those things. And it came to me in a dream last night. I think Jesus hand delivered it to my brain. I was like, here you go.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Patted me on the back and said, now you're ready. Then I heard a and I realized it was just toilet flushing. Then you jump back into bed. I was like, oh, that wasn't Jesus at all. That was Marnie. But no, I was thinking, and at first I was thinking, oh, that's cool. I need to do a promo. But if we set up a 217 Recovery podcast network, which we kind of have a couple shows, well, sort of, not really, but yeah, under the 217 umbrella, the Project Nation podcast is still out there. You know, it's like on the platforms, and it just needs a host. And yeah, anyway, I thought of like having a promo going, hey, do you want to be on a podcast? So if you're wanting to do a podcast, and people have approached me all the time, I want to do a podcast. It's not that easy. It sounds easy, but the time, the dedication, like there's going to be commitment that'll need to be put in, but I will help somebody and give them what they need to start their own recovery podcast. And if you're interested, keep listening. We'll give the details soon. And don't run out and buy a microphone or do anything like that. Don't do anything crazy just yet. It'll be very simple. That's how you're going to submit like a demo for it. And then we'll have other people come join us under our umbrella.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's huge.
Yeah. And Jesus,
you just had an invitation out there for, do you want to start your own podcast? And
yeah.
I was just like, if you do, call, text or email.
Just listen for details.
Now he's stringing you along.
Yeah. Well, I got to put it together, man. Jesus, when he talks to me, it's like, I had a hard time even saying it right there.
Right.
But that's the premise, the 217 Recovery Podcast Network. And yeah, don't go buy microphones, stuff like that, but just listen. And I'll have at first I was going to do a recorded promo, and I realized this isn't radio, and it would probably be better to have a video promo. So until I put that together, but this is like stuff that we're talking about 2021 probably. The holidays coming up. I mean, we'll probably get the promo done and start soliciting for people, but it'll be something that starts next year for sure. So don't kind of start freaking out either. And, maybe listen to some other podcasts. There was one that we were listening to this morning. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't, I don't know. I'm sure some people enjoy it, but what was it called? The podcast? I don't even remember.
Survey.
Podcast Survey? Or the Recovery Survey Podcast. That's what it was. Yeah, check that out. He was a bit monotone for me, and it just seems like he had a bunch of people that it was like a speaker meeting almost. Yeah. And I have people on from time to time, but I don't think that's really like a speaker meeting. Yeah. It's more like me just shooting the BS with somebody.
It's like when it's like going to class and your professor's all wah, 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 and it's like not what he's saying, but it just makes you fall asleep.
Yeah, you didn't care for that one.
No, I didn't. I'm not gonna lie.
Part of the program.
I didn't like it. It's like if I can't keep interest with someone's like voice, if there's zero intonation and it sounds like they don't care what they're talking about, and it sounds like it's something that they've said 85,000 times and they're just repeating themselves. It's kind of like it loses its luster. Yeah, you don't got me there.
And I'm sure people don't like us too.
Yeah, I'm sure, and that's fine.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. They don't have to listen. But other people really do like us, and they kind of relate to us and the things that we talk about. And sometimes we get silly, and they like that too. So sometimes they don't like it. Sometimes they do. And again, this is something I'm doing for fun. So if you think it would be fun, but just keep in mind though, it's a huge commitment. Marnie will tell you that. I mean, Laura was like, Marnie, you should start a women's podcast. I'm like, both of you should do it together. And you're like, I'm just not ready to commit to that. Yeah. And that was the honest answer, because you could have been like, yeah, honey, but you're like, no. And that's part of you in recovery as well. Because the old you might have been like, okay, I'll do it just because it's going to make you happy and you asked me to. Yeah. But you're like, no, I'm not ready to commit to that. It takes time. You got to set a day that you're going to do it. And we do this one 4 times a week, and it takes commitment. It takes a willingness. And you can't just be laying in bed going, oh. And sometimes we do it. Oh, we got to do a podcast. Yeah. But we get our asses up and we go do it. Yep. And the blog, I didn't do one last week because of that same thing. I was just sitting there and I was like, I think I had a rough day or week, or I don't remember. I'll blame it on something, excuses. But yeah, the podcast is something that you will have to commit to, and I'll help you out every step of the way. And I can put on my old program director hat like, don't swear so much, bro.
Right.
I was like my mom on him. I'm like, Mom, listen to this and give me an honest critique. Mm-hmm. And she will. I'm like, this is what my mom said. You guys suck. Just kidding. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't really say it like that.
Right.
I was kind of mean though to a couple of people when I was program director. Mm. Especially in Benton Harbor, man. Those guys were just bad. And it's like walking into a room and they're like, I want you to paint all the chairs white. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. You just think it's a normal sized room. And then you go in there and you realize it's like stacks of chairs, not even like open, but just millions of them. That overwhelming feeling that you would have, like, oh my God, that's what I felt when I went back to Benton Harbor. I was like, where do I start?
Yeah.
Like, this is never going to end. Mm-hmm. It was horrible, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, stay tuned for that. So, do you want to talk about sex or you want to talk about wedding jitters?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, good. Thought you'd say that. Let's talk about wedding jitters.
Okay.
Because Marty and I, of course, if this is your first time listening, we're getting married next month. 12th of December. I'm pretty excited. I'm really kind of getting excited. Today, I was like, I don't know if it's because some of the dresses, like you're really kind of starting to move forward with that. And it's just like, got the honeymoon suite thing all figured out. Families got their stuff booked. Mm-hmm. COVID tests are being scheduled.
Gotta add that in there.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just kind of getting exciting, you know, and I'm starting to really feel it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're having wedding jitters, like
not jitters.
I think it's healthy.
I'm not nervous about it, but I don't know. I just think it's great, and I never would have imagined. You know, like when I listened to that voicemail for the first time, you know, if you would have popped in and say, in 2 years, bro, you're going to be completely different. You're going to be getting married. What? Mm-hmm. I would have freaked out, called you a liar. Like, I'm just hallucinating.
I've been more aware of wedding things on TV, you know, shows or things that pop up, commercials. I'm more mindful, like aware. They pop out to me more. I'm like, why is all this wedding stuff on now? Everywhere I turn, it's stuff about weddings. No, it's probably always been there. I just never really paid attention to it.
Or it's your phone listening to you.
Yeah, it's true. I know my Amazon, now my Facebook is like everything. I'm still getting ring stuff on there. I'm just like, I can't get away. I've already done that part. At least give me something else that I'm supposed to be doing on my checklist. But no, it's awesome. It's like, you know, these are the things that are on our plate right now. These are the things that we need to figure out is what we're going to have in our rehearsal dinner for food. Mm-hmm. Those are some awesome things to have be on your brain. Yeah, and
we'll break it down for you too, because originally, like personally, I was thinking, okay, a fall wedding would be beautiful, and you know the trees, and especially in northern Michigan where we live. You know, it's just beautiful, you know, in October, early October. So it's just like, yeah, that's what I want. And then I think you wanted like somewhere it's like hot as hell out. Because that's what you like. And I was like, all right, that's what we'll probably have to do. And then it became family members, you know, the people that we're going to have in our wedding. You know, my brother lives in California. My other brother and sister live downstate, but they have kids. And not that would really matter, but just kind of getting everybody together. Who are we going to invite? And I don't really want a big wedding. And that's not going to work because your sister lives overseas and a different country, and your brother lives in California. And it's just like,
yeah,
how are we going to arrange all this? And
it was a lot of coordinating that seemed like a lot of work. No, and I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been worth it or what have you, but I'm just going to say it is this COVID thing has made everything way freaking more difficult. You know, it's a given, and people are more hesitant on the traveling piece and, you know, putting together who can be where and when. And then the kids are in school and they have jobs as well. When can they get away? And
I think though, COVID, it's a blessing for this.
For this,
no,
yeah.
not for the people who've lost people who've got COVID. And I'm not saying that as a
Right.
person, but I'm just saying like, because that was going to be a lot of work, like putting on a wedding, and people are probably like, "Oh, I got married; it was such a pain in the ass," and "Oh, if I had to do it over again." Because Marnie and I'm just having my mother and stepfather. Mm-hmm. You're having your dad, his plus one,
Yep.
and your mother, and that. So very small. I mean,
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh my god, that'd be awesome."
We have 6 guests.
Yeah.
And then 7 if you count the pastor.
Like, and then maybe Tyrone.
Yeah. Cameraman.
Yep. So it's like, I bet there are people out there like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. You guys are doing it. It's just so small and just intimate." And
Yeah.
it's perfect. You know, it worked out how it was supposed to. But yeah, we were just sitting there thinking, man, next year. And then the people that were supposed to get married this year, that already pushed their wedding back to next year. And then there's going to be more people trying to get married.
Oh, I've heard horror stories about cancellations of venues and losing their refunds
We don't have
or
to do
deposits rather, and you got to reschedule something, and everybody's always, oh man, no thank you, no thank you.
So it started out as wedding jitters talk, and then it turned into us bragging about
Yeah.
how awesome we are.
See,
And that we didn't have to go
this
through
is
all
how
that.
good life is when you're clean and sober. We have high class problems.
Yeah. But we could have looked at it like, oh, stupid COVID, and oh, I'm not going to have my big wedding. And, oh.
Nah.
No, I'd look at it as like I said, it's a blessing, but I mean, I think it's happening the way it's supposed to, and we've accepted it and did a good job of what can we control about the situation? You know, what can I control about this? You know, well, we can get married now. Unless we want to wait a year and then see if that works out, and probably not. And let's just do what we can do right now.
Yep.
So, yeah, pat myself and Marnie on the back for that. All right, now what everybody's been wanting to hear. Sex talk.
Sex talk.
Thanks for tuning in. I just summed up my part. No, we were kind of, I don't even know how we got on the subject, but I hear you searching on your phone about what animals have sex for fun
Yeah.
or for pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that, you know, procreation, you know, needs to happen. And animals, mammal, any being, reproduction is the way that you keep, you know, the circle of life, what have you. And the next generation, and keeps, you know, the universe alive and what have you. So, that's just a, you know, biological evolutionary piece that's what sex is created for, is for, right?
So it's pretty
that's
much
its purpose.
It's pretty
we'll
much
just say.
saying God saying that He did not have faith in humans to do this thing unless it felt good.
That could be said. That could be true. I mean,
Kinda
why
goes
wouldn't?
back to why we use drugs? Makes
Yeah.
us feel good.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Exactly. You know, but no, and that just kind of turned into us having a conversation about, you know, well, animals only then, you know, have sex with in mind that they're, you know, mating to create, you know, to procreate. And I was like, I don't think that's the case. I think that there are some animals that do. And thank you, Google.
Well,
there are.
Wasn't it at first you just said humans, pigs, and dolphins?
No, I knew like rats and monkeys,
Dogs, though.
dogs,
Always trying
lots
to hump
of
somebody's leg.
mammals. Yeah, lots of mammals. Not so much like insects and things like that, but fruit bats, believe it or not. Fruit bats are into oral. I don't know why that popped up on my phone, but lions, cheetahs, hyenas. You know.
Like, well, hold on. I'm going to go back to the fruit bat thing.
What?
Because there's a job out there that I'm just not getting paid to do. So there's a guy sitting in like a room somewhere with a little microscope or a little whatever it's called. And he's watching.
They're probably like nature scientists of some sort.
So he's just sitting there watching these fruit bats.
I guess so.
He's like, whoa, That looks, he's like taking notes. Fruit bat 1,
Yeah.
giving oral to fruit bat 2. Oh, I was thinking you were saying gnats.
Fruit bats.
Bats. Okay, way different. That is a picture. Huh. Okay.
Anyway, I just gave him my phone. That's the article that I was looking at right before we started the podcast.
In short-nosed fruit bats, oral sex is thought to help increase the likelihood of fertilization.
So, it's all piece of the whole
So, there's a guy
circle of life thing.
and a woman that tracked down these fruit bats. Still, there's a job. I wouldn't take that one because it looks like it's outside. I don't like to do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, but I thought you were saying gnats. I'm like, hold on.
No.
That's, okay, sorry. Mm-mm. It's been a long day. I'm tired. Yeah, so were there any animals that shocked you that were on there? Any that you're like, huh? Besides the fruit bat?
Some kind of snail. Yeah.
I heard you say something about that.
Yeah, there's like snails that have sex for pleasure, which is weird.
Again, in a laboratory, some dude's getting paid to go, yep, I think they're doing that for fun.
Yeah, I know. There's lots of jobs in the world.
Are they putting like little stuff on their brains? Do snails have brains?
I don't know, but Italian researcher Alfonso Triossi and Monica Carosi spent 238 hours watching Japanese monkeys.
My God.
Copulating.
238 hours. Watching monkeys?
Yeah, Japanese Macaqueus. It's, I believe it's a type of monkey.
Well,
I have to look that up. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's coming out. But dolphins, which I don't know how you managed to.
So almost 10 days they spent watching monkeys.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that would pay an hour. How do you get a job like that?
I don't know.
You have to go to like school for it?
Snail. The crazy stuff that you can find just from Google.
I don't even know how to look at it. Am I upside down with this thing?
I don't know.
See, how do you even know? That's his thing. It's purple.
I don't know what's going on.
A leopard slug. I don't even know what's going on here. Is that his thing?
I have no idea.
Or is that the other one?
I don't know.
What's that? What's he... I don't know. I'm confused by that. That is so confusing. I need to spend 238 hours on that one. And about $75 an hour. I'll let you know.
This was in an article by Discover something. And it says, yes, it's called Planet Earth Discover.
Who needs to know that?
Yes, other animals do have sex. The people that Google it, apparently us. I don't know.
No, it all started with a question that I had, that if does the male in a relationship, like if a woman has conceived and everybody's unaware, like, and we'll just use Marnie and myself for this example, like would my senses pick up on that?
I don't know.
That's kind of what led us to you looking up animals that have sex for pleasure.
Right. Because there was something that said that like pets, like cats and things, can detect hormonal changes and women are more in tune. So I'm just throwing it out there. If a cat can pick up on a human that the hormones have changed in, then it seems like the same species would be able to pick up on that as well. Right. I'm going to do a study on this. I'm going to do 240 hours on this one. I'll do this one at $45 an hour. And I'm sure there's a grant out there. We can just search grants and... Right. Oh my God, there's probably so many to watch.
Could you imagine running, like, if we're looking for a grant for, like, recovery stuff, you know, like, hey, recovery housing or, you know, transportation for recovery or just anything recovery that we apply for. And then we come across, leopard snail sex watching. Huh?
I don't know. Somebody somewhere is paying a scientist for that.
Like, hey, babe, get in here. Look at this. They're going to give us $25,000 to watch some snails have sex for 238 hours.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd be like,
Sign me up.
That's crazy. Wow. I just can't believe the money I'm missing out on. The good life. Like Adam said, I got a billionaire's name. You know, I mean, come on. I got to do something with it.
Right.
Thank you, Jesus. Just give me ideas left and right. So, well, that's enough sex talk tonight. Getting all worked up over here. That's the snail penis or whatever that was. Purple is weird. Check it out. Seriously. Yeah. Leopard. Snail. Slug. Leopard slug.
Slug. Yeah.
The 217 Recovery Podcast Network. Keep listening for details on how to apply for that and start your own podcast. We'll help you if you are into recovery. Want to talk about it? Just be dedicated. 217 Recovery app. You can get that everywhere now. Android.
You counted the other day how many platforms it was on.
Yeah, actually that's right in front of me. I'll read it.
Oh, all of them?
You want me to read it in my
No.
Mm-mm. You want me to read it in my
No.
my hunting voice?
No, just a normal voice is good.
Okay. Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Sonos, Deezer, Radio Line, I think. I didn't write that very well. TuneIn, CastBox, Stitcher, Amazon, which is Alexa included, and Amazon Music, Pandora, Spreaker, Audible, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, GeoSavin. There's another. I don't know. There's a bunch more, but those are just the ones that I could track down. But yeah, we're on stuff though. Other people come up and they'll like, "Hey, yeah, I heard you on this." I'm like, I didn't even know we're on that. Mm-hmm. You know,
awesome.
So, yeah. So you can get us anywhere, but make sure to subscribe. And if you do get the app, or if you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, Google Play, not a lot of people listen on Google Play.
No? Mm-mm. I don't know. I mean, I think some of them at work are more efficient than others. Like some of them will do pausing.
You know, I forgot to put on there YouTube.
YouTube is?
Huh. I don't know. I don't like YouTube because like they make us verify. I have like 25 accounts for some reason. And it's like, you got to verify this and that. And so, like, they break it up into segments, which really is annoying for me.
Yeah.
It's and I give up. I just like,
yeah, we're saying don't. We have way more options. You don't
so if you are listening on YouTube, you're like, oh, wow, I got Spotify, or, you know, I'm going to check out Spreaker, iHeartRadio. But like us and leave us a rating and comment or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out, that helps other people. Because, like, I was reading those reviews from the guy that, what was it called? The recovery. What was it called?
Survey?
Yeah, recovery survey or whatever it was called, the podcast. Mm-hmm. And like there are people like, oh, they talk about real things. I'm like, no, it's just one person reading or telling a story, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was just kind of like a review that I was like, is that his brother or something that wrote that on there? I don't know. But if you could do this review, that'd be sweet, and like us, and you can subscribe or follow us on whatever platform. And I'm pretty sure some of them, if you allow notifications, will send you notifications. We send notifications. We get done doing podcasts from our app, which you can listen from the app podcast player, which I kind of touched up, I guess you could say, added our retro podcast logo to it. And that is on our app. And you can hit play and walk away. Your phone will go off, like, it'll go black, and it'll still play, you know. So check that out too. Get the app and have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good day at work. Tell your boss I said hello. Tell me it smells like beer. No. Tell me it smells like a brewery in here. That's what they used to tell me in my studio.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Tell them, listen. Like, hey, I got something that's going to save your life, I got something that's going to save your life and your marriage, boss. It's all in one podcast. Listen to this one.
Right.
All right. Thanks again, though, for real. Appreciate the support.
Right.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. For more episodes plus bonus features, download the 217 Recovery app.